The Galactic Council's derision. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council hummed with anticipation. Delegates from 1,000 worlds filled the tiered seating, their varied forms a testament to the diversity of sentient life in the Milky Way. At the center of the hall, a holographic display flickered to life, showcasing the image of a blue-green planet spinning lazily in the void. Earth, announced Zixnera, the Pleiadian Council speaker. Her crystalline form sparkled under the hall's ambient light. The third planet of the Sol system, home to the species known as humans. They petitioned for membership in our esteemed Galactic Council. A murmur rippled through the assembly. Earth was a relative newcomer to the galactic stage, having achieved faster-than-light travel mere decades ago. Their rapid technological advancement had caught the attention of many races, but opinions on humanity's readiness for council membership were divided. Ambassador Sarah Chen stepped forward, her crisp uniform bearing the insignia of the United Earth government. Despite being dwarfed by the alien delegates surrounding her, she carried herself with quiet confidence. "Esteemed members of the council," Sarah began, her voice clear and steady. "Humanity comes before you today, not as supplicants, but as equals. We have achieved great strides in science, culture, and technology. We believe we are ready to take our place among the stars and contribute to the greater galactic community." As Sarah spoke, the holographic display shifted, showcasing Earth's achievements. Images of sprawling cities, advanced medical facilities, and environmental restoration projects flashed by. Several council members nodded approvingly, but others remained skeptical. "Impressive for such a young race," rumbled Grokthar, the Ursan representative. His massive, bear-like form leaned forward with interest. "But what of your military capabilities? The galaxy is vast and not always kind. How would Earth contribute to our mutual defense?" Sarah's expression remained neutral, but a glimmer of something, pride, perhaps, flashed in her eyes. "We anticipated this question," honored Grokthar. "Allow me to present an overview of Earth's defense forces." The hologram changed again, displaying a fleet of sleek spacecraft. They were smaller than most Council races' capital ships, but their designs spoke of efficiency and purpose. "Our naval forces consist of over 500 vessels, ranging from rapid response corvettes to our flagship carriers," Sarah explained. "We've developed energy shielding capable of withstanding sustained plasma bombardment, and our propulsion systems allow for unprecedented maneuverability in both real space and hyperspace." She continued, detailing advancements in energy weapons, tactical AI systems, and ground forces equipped with powered exoskeletons. As she spoke, however, the mood in the chamber began to shift. What started as skepticism slowly morphed into amusement, then outright derision. Laughter erupted from the Zorgan delegation, a race of silicon-based lifeforms known for their massive battleships. "You call those toys warships?" Their leader, Exhibit, scoffed. "Our smallest cruiser could obliterate your entire fleet." Similar sentiments echoed throughout the chamber. The Arcturian representative waved a tentacle dismissively. "Energy shielding. We mastered that technology millennia ago. Your advancements are little more than quaint curiosities to us." Sarah's jaw tightened, but she maintained her composure. "With all due respect, council members, the size of a fleet does not necessarily dictate its effectiveness. We believe in quality over quantity and in the innovative application of technology." Her words fell on deaf ears. The council members were now openly mocking Earth's military capabilities, trading jests about primitive apes playing at galactic warfare and children with sparklers trying to fight supernovas. Zixnera raised a crystalline appendage, calling for order. "Ambassador Chen," she said, her tone a mixture of pity and condescension, "while we appreciate Earth's enthusiasm, it's clear that your world is not yet ready for the responsibilities of council membership. Your technology, particularly your military capabilities, are woefully inadequate for the challenges of galactic citizenship." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Madam Speaker, I urge the Council to reconsider. Humanity has much to offer beyond mere military strength. Our adaptability, our creativity. Not enough, Zixnera interrupted. The decision of the Council is final. Earth's petition for membership is denied. We recommend you focus on further developing your civilization. Perhaps in another century or two, you may be ready to join us. The chamber erupted in a mix of laughter and applause. Sarah stood rigid, her fists clenched at her sides as she endured the humiliation. But as the noise died down, she stepped forward once more. Our naval forces consist of over 500 vessels, ranging from rapid response corvettes to our flagship carriers, Sarah explained. We've developed energy shielding capable of withstanding sustained plasma bombardment, and our propulsion systems allow for unprecedented maneuverability in both real space and hyperspace. She continued, detailing advancements in energy weapons, tactical AI systems, and ground forces equipped with powered exoskeletons. As she spoke, however, the mood in the chamber began to shift. What started as skepticism slowly morphed into amusement, then outright derision. Laughter erupted from the Zorgan delegation, a race of silicon-based life forms known for their massive battleships. You call those toys warships. Their leader, Exhibit, scoffed. Our smallest cruiser could obliterate your entire fleet. Similar sentiments echoed throughout the chamber. The Arcturian representative waved a tentacle dismissively. Energy shielding. We mastered that technology millennia ago. Your advancements are little more than quaint curiosities to us. Sarah's jaw tightened, but she maintained her composure. With all due respect, Council members, the size of a fleet does not necessarily dictate its effectiveness. We believe in quality over quantity and in the innovative application of technology. Her words fell on deaf ears. The Council members were now openly mocking Earth's military capabilities, trading jests about primitive apes playing at galactic warfare and children with sparklers trying to fight supernovas. Zixnera raised a crystalline appendage, calling for order. Ambassador Chen, she said, her tone a mixture of pity and condescension. While we appreciate Earth's enthusiasm, it's clear that your world is not yet ready for the responsibilities of Council membership. Your technology, particularly your military capabilities, are woefully inadequate for the challenges of galactic citizenship. Sarah's eyes narrowed. Madam Speaker, I urge the Council to reconsider. Humanity has much to offer beyond mere military strength. Our adaptability, our creativity. Not enough, Zixnera interrupted. The decision of the Council is final. Earth's petition for membership is denied. We recommend you focus on further developing your civilization. Perhaps in another century or two, you may be ready to join us. The chamber erupted in a mix of laughter and applause. Sarah stood rigid, her fists clenched at her sides as she endured the humiliation. But as the noise died down, she stepped forward once more. Very well, she said, her voice carrying a new edge of steel. The Council has made its decision, and we will abide by it. But let me offer a word of caution. The room fell silent, more out of surprise at her audacity than any real interest in her words. Humanity has faced adversity throughout its history. We've overcome plagues, wars, environmental disasters, and our own worst impulses. Each time we were knocked down, we rose stronger. You look at our ships, our weapons, and you see toys. You look at our history and see primitives fumbling in the dark. Sarah's eyes swept the room, meeting the gaze of each Council member in turn. But what you fail to see is the fire that drives us, the ingenuity that turns disadvantages into strengths, the sheer bloody-minded determination that has carried us from caves to the stars in a cosmic blink of an eye. She smiled then, an expression that held no mirth, only promise. Laugh now, if you wish. Dismiss us as children playing at the grown-ups' table, but remember this moment. Remember how you treated us when we came to you openly, honestly, offering friendship and alliance. The amusement in the chamber had faded, replaced by an uneasy silence. Even those who had been loudest in their mockery shifted uncomfortably under Sarah's unwavering stare. Because there may come a day, she continued, her voice low but carrying to every corner of the vast hall. When you find yourselves facing a threat you can't overcome, when your mighty fleets and your ancient wisdom fail you, and on that day, you may find that the primitives you laughed at are the only ones standing between you and annihilation. With that, Sarah turned on her heel and strode towards the exit. The council members watched her go, their earlier bravado evaporating in the wake of her words. As the doors of the chamber closed behind her, Sarah allowed herself a small, grim smile. She tapped her communicator. Terra Actual, this is Chen. Mission accomplished. They reacted exactly as predicted. A gruff voice responded. Understood, Ambassador. Initiating Phase 2. The Terra Nova stands ready. Sarah nodded to herself as she made her way back to the Earth Embassy. The Council's laughter still rang in her ears, but it didn't bother her. Let them underestimate humanity. Let them dismiss Earth as a backwater world of no consequence. The unforeseen threat. 6 standard months had passed since Earth's humiliating rejection from the Galactic Council. Life in the galaxy continued its usual ebb and flow of trade, diplomacy, and the occasional minor border skirmish. Earth, true to Ambassador Chen's words, did not protest the Council's decision, but instead turned inward, focusing on its own development and exploration of nearby unclaimed systems. The complacency of the Galactic Council was shattered on a quiet Centaurian morning. Alarms blared through the corridors of the Council's Central Command Center on Alpha Centauri Prime. General Vexalia, a seasoned Andromedan warrior with scales that shimmered like oil on water, burst into the Situation Room. Her normally stoic features were etched with concern. Report. She barked at the array of technicians and officers scrambling over holographic displays. A young Syrian officer, his canine features taut with stress, responded. General, we've detected a massive energy surge at the edge of Sector 9. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. Vexalia's eyes narrowed. Show me. The central hologram flickered to life, displaying a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy. A pulsing red dot marked the location of the anomaly, far from any major civilization centers, but uncomfortably close to several developing worlds. As they watched, the energy signature expanded rapidly. Suddenly, space itself seemed to tear open, a gaping maw of swirling darkness that defied the laws of physics as they knew them. By the cosmic egg, Vexalia whispered, her usual bravado faltering. What is that? Before anyone could respond, shapes began to emerge from the spatial rift. Ships, if they could be called that. They were massive, easily dwarfing the largest Zorgan dreadnoughts. Their forms were alien and unsettling, all sharp angles and pulsing otherworldly energies. Count, Vexalia demanded. Still emerging, General, the Syrian replied, his voice shaking. Current tally is over 500 capital ships and at least twice that in support vessels. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. This was no exploration fleet, no diplomatic envoy. This was an invasion force, larger than anything the Council had faced in millennia. Vexalia snapped out of her shock first. Sound the general alarm. I want every available ship mobilized immediately. Get me a direct line to the Council chamber. As her orders were carried out, reports began flooding in. The alien fleet, without any attempt at communication, had begun attacking the nearest inhabited systems. Heavily fortified military outposts fell in minutes. Entire planets were being bombarded from orbit, their defenses crumbling under the onslaught of weapons that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. In the Council chamber, panic reigned. Representatives from 100 worlds clamored for action, for protection, for answers that no one had. Zixnera, the Pleiadian speaker, struggled to maintain order. Please, everyone, we must remain calm and united in the face of this threat. Exhibit, the Zorgan leader who had been so quick to mock Earth's military might, now seemed shrunken in his seat. United. How can we unite against such power? Did you see what they did to the Arcturian defense fleet? Atomized in seconds. Similar cries of despair echoed through the chamber. Worlds that had stood proudly for millions of years now faced extinction, and the mighty Galactic Council seemed powerless to stop it. Grokthar, the Ursan representative, slammed his massive paw on his console. Enough. We are not helpless cubs to be slaughtered. We must fight back. His words sparked a murmur of agreement, a small candle of hope in the face of overwhelming odds. Vexalia's hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. Counselors, we've mobilized every available ship. The combined fleets of the Zorgan Empire, the Pleiades Confederation, and the Ursani Collective are en route to establish a defensive line. And the Syrian Pact, someone called out. A moment of grim silence. The Syrian home system was among the first hit, Vexalia reported, her voice heavy. We've lost contact with their central command. The news hit like a physical blow. The Syrians were among the oldest and most advanced civilizations in the Council. If they had fallen so quickly, what? What about the outer worlds? Zixnera asked, almost afraid to hear the answer. Surely some of them are beyond the invaders' reach. Vexalia shook her head. The enemy fleet is vast, and they're using some form of faster-than-light travel we've never seen before. They're hitting multiple sectors simultaneously. At their current pace, they'll reach the core worlds within days. The chamber erupted into chaos again. Accusations flew, fingers were pointed. Age-old rivalries bubbled to the surface in the face of extinction. Silence. Grokthar roared, his voice cutting through the din. This bickering solves nothing. We must stand together, or we will fall alone. Zixnera nodded gratefully to the Ursan before addressing the council. Grokthar is right. We've faced threats before, and we've always prevailed. We will do so again. Her words were met with skeptical murmurs, but at least the panic had subsided somewhat. General Vexalia, Zixnera continued, coordinate our defense efforts. Use whatever resources you need, and send out a call for aid to all races, council members or not. We need every ship, every soldier we can muster. Vexalia saluted and her hologram winked out. The council members began discussing strategy, allocating resources, preparing their worlds for the coming storm. Hours passed, then days. The news from the front lines grew increasingly grim. The combined might of the Council's fleets, ships that had kept the peace in the galaxy for eons, crumbled before the alien onslaught. World after world fell silent, their civilizations snuffed out in fire and terror. On the fifth day, as the alien fleet approached the Council's core systems, a somber Zixnera addressed the depleted Council. My friends, she began, her crystalline form dimmed with exhaustion and grief, we faced the gravest threat in our long history. Our finest ships lie in ruins. Our bravest warriors have fallen. And still, the enemy advances. She paused, and when she continued, there was a note of desperation in her voice. In our arrogance, we thought ourselves the pinnacle of galactic civilization. We dismissed those we deemed lesser, thinking they had nothing to offer. But now, in our darkest hour, we must swallow our pride. Zixnera's gaze swept the room, meeting the eyes of each remaining council member. I propose we reach out to Earth. The chamber, so recently filled with the clamor of argument and planning, fell deathly silent. The humans. Exhibit sputtered, breaking the silence. What can those primitives do that our greatest fleets could not? I don't know, Zixnera admitted, but we've exhausted every other option. And if there's one thing we know about humans, it's that they're full of surprises. Slowly, reluctantly, the council members nodded their agreement. They had no choice. Their civilizations, their very existence, hung by a thread. As the communication to Earth was prepared, Zixnera couldn't help but remember the words of Ambassador Chen, spoken so prophetically just months ago. There may come a day when you find yourselves facing a threat you can't overcome, when your mighty fleets and your ancient wisdom fail you, and on that day, you may find that the primitives you laughed at are the only ones standing between you and annihilation. That day had come, And as the fate of the galaxy now rested in the hands of those they had mocked and dismissed, the Galactic Council could only hope that humanity's forgiveness was as great as its determination. Humanity's secret weapon. The mood in the United Earth Defense Forces Subterranean Command Center was tense but focused. Holographic displays flickered with real-time updates from across the galaxy, each blinking red dot, another world falling to the mysterious invaders. At the center of it all stood Admiral Helena Yoshida, her weathered face illuminated by the glow of tactical readouts. A young lieutenant approached, tablet in hand. "Admiral, we've received a priority transmission from the Galactic Council. They're requesting our assistance." A ripple of murmurs spread through the command center. Admiral Yoshida's expression remained impassive, but those who knew her well caught the slight twitch of the corner of her mouth. "Put it through," she ordered, straightening her uniform. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the haggard face of Zixnera, the Pleiadian Council speaker. Gone was the condescension that had marked their last interaction. Now her crystalline features were etched with desperation. "Admiral Yoshida," Zixnera began, her voice strained. "On behalf of the Galactic Council, I come to you in our darkest hour. We face an enemy unlike any we've encountered, one that threatens the very existence of all known civilizations. Our fleets lie in ruins, our worlds burn. We need your help." Admiral Yoshida allowed the silence to stretch for a moment before responding. "Speaker Zixnera, we've been monitoring the situation. Your plight has not gone unnoticed. Then you'll help us." Hope flickered in Zixnera's eyes. "That depends," Yoshida replied coolly. "The last time we stood before your council, we were laughed out of the chamber. Our technology was deemed primitive, our military might insignificant. What makes you think we can succeed where your advanced civilizations have failed?" Zixnera's form seemed to shrink. "We were wrong, Admiral, arrogant and blind. Whatever differences lie between us, surely they pale in comparison to the threat we now face. If there's anything you can do, any aid you can provide, please." Admiral Yoshida turned to her staff, a silent exchange of nods passing between them. She faced the screen once more. "Very well, Speaker. We will render assistance. Stand by for further communication." As the transmission ended, the command center erupted into activity. Yoshida turned to her second-in-command, Commander Rajesh Patel. "Rajesh, it's time. Initiate Project Nemesis." Patel's eyes widened. "Are you sure, Admiral? Once we reveal the Terra Nova, there's no going back." "The galaxy is burning, Commander," Yoshida replied grimly. "If there was ever a time for humanity to show its true strength, it's now." Patel nodded and began issuing orders. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, in a hidden shipyard that had escaped even the most advanced alien scans, klaxons began to blare. Thousands of miles away, Ambassador Sarah Chen stood in her office at the Earth Embassy on Alpha Centauri Prime, watching the chaos unfold in the streets below. Her comm unit chimed. "Chen here. Ambassador." Admiral Yoshida's voice came through. "It's time. You know what to do." A slow smile spread across Sarah's face. "Understood, Admiral. I'll prepare the council." Within hours, the remnants of the Galactic Council had been hastily assembled. The chamber, once a symbol of galactic unity and power, now felt like a tomb. The few remaining representatives huddled together, jumping at every sound, expecting at any moment to hear the approach of the invading fleet. Ambassador Chen strode into the chamber, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the fear surrounding her. "Esteemed members of the council," she began, her voice cutting through the murmurs of despair, "Earth has heard your plea, and we have decided to act." "Act how?" "Exhibit," the Zorgan leader demanded. "What can your handful of ships do against an armada that has laid waste to our greatest fleets?" Sarah's smile was razor-sharp. "Who said anything about a handful of ships?" She activated a holographic projector, and the image that sprang to life in the center of the chamber struck the council members silent. It was a ship, but unlike anything they had ever seen. Where their vessels were sleek and streamlined, this was angular and intimidating. It bristled with weapon systems they couldn't even begin to comprehend, and it was massive, dwarfing even the largest Zorgan dreadnoughts. "Allow me to introduce you to the TES Terra Nova," Sarah announced, a note of pride in her voice. "The flagship of Earth's true fleet and the culmination of Project Nemesis." "Impossible," Braith Grokthar, the Ursan representative. "We've monitored your shipyards, your resource allocation. You couldn't have built this in secret." Sarah's eyes glittered. "You saw what we wanted you to see," honored Grokthar. "While you dismissed us as primitives, we were preparing. This ship represents the pinnacle of human innovation, combining technologies some of you discarded centuries ago with advancements you've yet to even conceive." She began highlighting various features of the ship: quantum entangled power cores for nearly limitless energy, graviton projection fields that can manipulate the very fabric of space-time, weaponry that doesn't just destroy matter, but temporarily rewrites the laws of physics in localized areas. The council members listened in stunned silence as Sarah continued her explanation. The Terra Nova wasn't just a warship. It was a mobile fortress, a testament to humanity's ingenuity and determination. "But why?" Zixnera finally asked. "Why hide this? Why allow yourselves to be humiliated if you possessed such power?" Sarah's expression softened slightly. "Because, Speaker Zixnera, humanity has learned harsh lessons from its own history. We've seen what happens when a technologically superior force encounters a less advanced civilization. We wanted to earn our place in the galactic community through diplomacy and mutual respect, not through fear of our military might." She paused, looking each council member in the eye. "We hope that by presenting ourselves as a young, eager race with modest capabilities, we could integrate peacefully. Your rejection was disappointing, but not entirely unexpected. It simply meant we had to wait a little longer to reveal our true selves." "And now," Grokthar rumbled. "Now," Sarah replied, her voice steel, "we stand ready to defend not just Earth, but all sentient life in this galaxy. The Terra Nova is already en route to engage the enemy fleet, but she doesn't fight alone." The hologram expanded, showing not just the Terra Nova, but an entire fleet of ships emerging from hidden bases throughout Earth's solar system. Each was smaller than the flagship, but no less impressive. Their designs varied, but all clearly products of the same advanced technology. "My God," Exhibit whispered, "you've been building an armada." Sarah nodded. "We call it the Terran Defense Fleet. While your civilizations focused on expanding outward, we focused on perfecting our technology, on preparing for any threat that might emerge from the depths of space. It seems our caution was justified." The council chamber was silent as the implications sank in. The primitives they had laughed at now stood as their last, best hope for survival. "The Terra Nova will engage the enemy's main fleet," Sarah continued. "Our other ships will split up to defend key systems and evacuate civilians where needed. We'll need your cooperation to coordinate these efforts." Zixnera stepped forward, her crystalline form seeming to glow with renewed hope. "Ambassador Chen, I speak for the entire council when I say, we are at your disposal. Whatever you need, it's yours. And we owe you an apology. Our treatment of Earth was shameful." Sarah's expression softened. "There will be time for apologies and reconciliation later, Speaker. Right now, we have a galaxy to save." As the council burst into action, coordinating with Earth's fleet, Sarah allowed herself a small, grim smile. Humanity had hoped to join the galactic community as equals. Instead, they would be entering as saviors. The true test was yet to come. But as reports came in of the Terra Nova approaching the invading fleet, Sarah felt a surge of pride. Humanity had prepared for this moment for generations. It was time to show the galaxy what Earth could really do. The battle that silenced the galaxy. The vast emptiness of space crackled with tension as the TES Terra Nova and its escort fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Arcturus system. Before them lay a scene of utter devastation. The broken husks of once proud Galactic Council ships drifted lifelessly, while the imposing forms of the alien invaders loomed against the backdrop of a burning world. On the bridge of the Terra Nova, Captain Zora Kamal stood resolute, her dark eyes scanning the tactical displays. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "All systems nominal, Captain," her XO, Lieutenant Commander Jack Harper, reported. "Quantum cores at full capacity. Graviton field stable. Weapon systems hot and awaiting your order." Zara nodded, then opened a channel to the fleet. "This is Captain Kamal to all ships. You know why we're here. These invaders thought they could burn our galaxy unopposed. It's time to show them how gravely they've miscalculated. For Earth, for all sentient life, engage." Across the Terran fleet, officers and crews steeled themselves. Many had trained their entire lives for this moment, though few had believed it would actually come. As the human ships surged forward, the alien fleet seemed to hesitate. Perhaps they were analyzing these new adversaries, or maybe they were simply surprised to encounter resistance after so many easy victories. Their hesitation was their first mistake. The Terra Nova's primary weapon, the quantum destabilizer, flared to life. A beam of coruscating energy lanced out, striking the nearest alien dreadnought. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, to the astonishment of watching council members who had patched into the Terra Nova's feeds, the massive ship simply unraveled, its very atomic structure destabilized, transforming the once mighty vessel into a rapidly expanding cloud of subatomic particles. "By the cosmic egg," Grokthar breathed, watching from the Council's emergency bunker. "What manner of weapon is that?" Ambassador Chen, standing nearby, allowed herself a small smile. "That, honored Grokthar, is what happens when you push the boundaries of theoretical physics for a century." The alien fleet, recovering from their initial shock, began to return fire. Beams of sickly green energy and projectiles that seemed to distort space itself hurtled towards the Terran ships, but they found their targets frustratingly elusive. The smaller human vessels danced between the incoming fire, their graviton field generators allowing them to perform maneuvers that defied conventional physics. Where direct evasion was impossible, energy shields of unprecedented strength flickered into existence, dispersing the alien attacks harmlessly into space. Multiple enemy contacts, bearing 220 Mark 45. Harper called out on the Terra Nova's bridge. "They're trying to flank our destroyer group." Captain Kamal's eyes narrowed. "Not on my watch. Helm, bring us about. Tactical, prepare a full spread of chronoton torpedoes." The massive ship pivoted with a grace that belied its size. From its launch bays erupted a swarm of glowing projectiles. As they neared the advancing alien ships, they seemed to phase in and out of reality. The enemy vessels fired frantically, but their shots passed harmlessly through the torpedoes' ephemeral forms. Then, in a series of silent flashes, the chronoton torpedoes detonated. Spheres of distorted time enveloped the alien ships. Some were thrown backwards in time, their hulls reverting to half-constructed skeletons. Others were propelled forward, their structures crumbling to ancient, corroded ruins in an instant. "Direct hits," Harper reported, a note of awe in his voice. "Enemy flanking group neutralized." Throughout the system, similar scenes played out. Terran destroyers unleashed swarms of self-replicating nanite missiles that ate through alien hull plating like acid. Cruisers deployed singularity projectors, creating localized black holes that swallowed enemy fighters by the dozens. Every aspect of the human fleet showcased technologies that the Galactic Council had long thought impossible. But the aliens were far from defeated. As the battle raged on, they began to adapt. Their shots became more accurate, their formations tighter. Several human ships, caught off guard by the aliens' increasing coordination, erupted in balls of plasma and twisted metal. "We've lost the Intrepid and the Defiant," Harper reported grimly. "The Resolute is reporting heavy damage." Captain Kamal's jaw tightened. Signal the fleet. Execute Maneuver Omega. It's time to end this. Across the Terran fleet, commanders acknowledged the order. The human ships began to move in concert, forming a complex, three-dimensional geometric pattern. Energy began to arc between the vessels, growing in intensity until it seemed a web of lightning connected the entire fleet. In the council bunker, alarms began to blare. "What's happening?" Zix Nera demanded, her crystalline form vibrating with anxiety. Sarah Chen's eyes were glued to the display. "Something we hoped we'd never have to use," she murmured. "The Concordance Protocol." Back on the Terra Nova, Captain Kamal took a deep breath. "All ships signaling ready, Captain," Harper reported. Zora nodded solemnly. "Execute." In that moment, the laws of physics seemed to take a lunch break. The energy web connecting the Terran fleet pulsed once, twice, and then exploded outward in a sphere of blinding white light. As it washed over the alien fleet, their ships simply ceased to be. No explosion, no disintegration. One moment they were there, the next, gone, as if they had never existed. When the light faded, the Terran fleet hung victorious in space. Of the massive alien armada, nothing remained. Silence reigned on the bridge of the Terra Nova for a long moment. It was Harper who finally broke it. "Captain, we did it. The enemy fleet has been neutralized." A cheer went up from the crew, quickly spreading throughout the ship and across the fleet. But Captain Kamal's expression remained solemn. "Signal the fleet," she ordered quietly. "Begin search and rescue operations immediately. Priority to any life pods or escape craft from Council ships." As the Terran fleet moved to carry out her orders, Kamal opened a channel to Earth. "Admiral Yoshida, this is the Terra Nova. The Arcturus system is secure. The alien threat has been eliminated." In the Council bunker, the assembled representatives stared at the tactical displays in stunned silence. The battle that they had been certain would herald the end of their civilizations had been won in a matter of hours. I don't understand." Exhibit, the Zorgan leader, finally managed. How is this possible?" Sarah Chen's expression was a mixture of pride and sorrow. "Humanity has a long, dark history of warfare. Counselor, exhibit. When we reached for the stars, we swore to use our knowledge to protect, not conquer. But we never forgot the lessons of our past. We hoped for peace, but prepared for war," Grufthar finished, a new respect in his Ursine features. Sarah nodded. "The Concordance Protocol was our absolute last resort, a weapon capable of removing matter from the very fabric of space-time. We've just used it to save the galaxy, but the implications, the ethical considerations." She trailed off, lost in thought. Zix Nera stepped forward, her crystalline form gleaming with a new light. "Ambassador Chen," she said softly, "I think I speak for all of us when I say that the galaxy owes humanity a debt we can never fully repay. When this crisis is fully resolved, we would be honored if Earth would take its rightful place on the Galactic Council." Sarah met the speaker's gaze. "Thank you, Zix Nera. But I think it's clear that the old council structure is obsolete. When the dust settles, we'll need to build something new. Together." As the council members nodded in agreement, reports continued to stream in from across the galaxy. The alien invasion had been halted. Humanity's hidden fleet was turning the tide in system after system. The battle that silenced the galaxy was over. But for humanity and its newfound allies, the real work was just beginning. A new galactic order. One standard galactic year had passed since the fateful battle that saw humanity emerge as the unexpected saviors of the known universe. The scars of the alien invasion were still visible across many worlds, but amid the reconstruction efforts, a new sense of unity and purpose had taken root among the surviving civilizations. On Earth, in the sprawling metropolis of New Geneva, a grand structure of gleaming alloys and crystalline spires rose into the sky. The newly constructed Hall of Galactic Concord. Today, it would host the inaugural assembly of the Galactic Confederation, a new governing body born from the ashes of the old council. Inside the central chamber, representatives from hundreds of worlds mingled, their diverse forms a testament to the variety of life in the universe. The tension and mistrust that had once characterized such gatherings were noticeably absent, replaced by an atmosphere of cautious optimism and shared purpose. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Sarah Chen, now serving as Earth's primary representative to the Confederation. She surveyed the room with a mixture of pride and trepidation, acutely aware of the challenges that lay ahead. "Quite a change from the last time we all gathered, isn't it?" A familiar crystalline voice chimed beside her. Sarah turned to see Zixnera, the former Pleiadian Council speaker, now serving as one of the transitional advisors to the Confederation. "Indeed it is," Sarah replied with a warm smile. "Though I confess, I sometimes miss the simplicity of being the underdogs." Zixnera's form shimmered with what Sarah had come to recognize as rueful amusement. "Careful what you wish for, my friend. The responsibilities of leadership are not to be taken lightly." Before Sarah could respond, a hush fell over the chamber as Admiral Helena Yoshida stepped up to the central podium. Her weathered face, projected on massive screens around the room, commanded instant respect. "Representatives of the Galactic Confederation," Yoshida began, her voice strong and clear. "1 year ago, we faced extinction. Today, we stand united, not just in our victory over a common foe, but in our vision for a shared future." She paused, her gaze sweeping the chamber. The old order, built on secrecy, competition, and mistrust, proved unsustainable in the face of a true existential threat. Today, we lay the foundation for something new, a galactic society based on open exchange of knowledge, mutual defense, and collaborative progress. As Yoshida outlined the core principles of the new Confederation, Sarah couldn't help but reflect on the monumental changes of the past year. The revelation of Earth's true technological capabilities had sent shockwaves through galactic society. Initial reactions had ranged from awe to fear to anger at the deception. But as the dust settled and the full scope of the alien threat became clear, gratitude had won out. Earth's hidden fleet had been instrumental in rooting out pockets of alien resistance and preventing further incursions from whatever dark corner of the universe they had emerged from. More importantly, humanity's willingness to freely share its advanced technology in the aftermath of the war had gone a long way in building trust. Planets that had lost their defense capabilities were now protected by shields based on Terran designs. The quantum communication network, once a closely guarded Earth secret, now facilitated near-instantaneous communication across the galaxy. And so, Yoshida was concluding, let this Confederation stand as a testament to what we can achieve when we move beyond our differences and work together. Our strength lies not in the power of our weapons, but in the bonds we forge between our worlds. As applause filled the chamber, Sarah felt a gentle tap on her shoulder. She turned to see Grokthar, the Ursan representative, his massive form somehow managing to look both intimidating and contrite. "Ambassador Chen," he rumbled softly, "we owe you an apology. Our treatment of Earth in the old council was shameful. We let our arrogance blind us to your potential." Sarah shook her head, smiling. "What's past is past, Grokthar. We all made mistakes. What matters is that we learn from them and move forward together." The Ursan nodded solemnly. "Indeed. And speaking of moving forward, there's been much discussion among the Transitional Committee. We believe it's time for Earth to take a more central role in galactic leadership." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Oh, and what did you have in mind?" Before Grokthar could respond, the chamber's attention was drawn to a commotion near the main entrance. A group of beings was entering. Beings that Sarah recognized with a start as representatives of the invading alien race. The room fell silent, tension thick in the air. The aliens, their forms still unsettlingly foreign, moved with obvious trepidation. At their head walked Captain Zora Kamal, her posture rigid but her expression determined. Admiral Yoshida's voice cut through the silence. Representatives of the Confederation, I present to you envoys from the Excision Collective. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Sarah felt Zixnera stiffen beside her. Admiral, the Pleiadian's voice was tight. What is the meaning of this? Yoshida's expression remained impassive. In the aftermath of our victory, we made contact with the homeworld of our invaders. What we discovered was unexpected. Captain Kamal stepped forward, her voice carrying across the now silent chamber. The beings we fought were not representative of their entire civilization. They were a rogue faction, driven mad by exposure to an ancient and malevolent technology. The majority of their people were as much victims as we were. She gestured to the alien representatives. These envoys come in peace, seeking to make amends for the actions of their misguided brethren, and to find a place in our new galactic order. The silence that followed was deafening. Sarah could feel the weight of history in this moment, the fate of interstellar relations hanging in the balance. It was Grokthar who broke the impasse, his deep voice resonating through the chamber. Not long ago, we dismissed humanity as primitive and unworthy, he said. We were wrong, and that error nearly cost us everything. Perhaps we should not be so quick to judge again. A ripple of agreement passed through the assembly. Sarah stepped forward, locking eyes with the alien envoys. On behalf of Earth and humanity, I welcome you to the Galactic Confederation. There is much healing to be done, much trust to be rebuilt. But if we've learned anything this past year, it's that we're stronger together than apart. As conversations began to buzz around the chamber, Zixnera leaned in close to Sarah. You know, she said quietly, I think we found our answer about Earth's role in the Confederation. Sarah quirked an eyebrow. Oh, indeed, Grokthar rumbled from her other side. We need a leader who can bridge divides, who understands the importance of both strength and compassion. The Transitional Committee is in agreement. We wish to nominate Earth to lead the Galactic Confederation, with you, Ambassador Chen, as our first Prime Minister. Sarah blinked, momentarily stunned. As she looked around the chamber, at the mingling representatives, at the tentative interactions with the Excision envoys, at the hope shining in so many eyes, she felt the weight of the task ahead. But she also felt a surge of determination. Well, she said finally, a smile tugging at her lips, I suppose someone has to keep this grand experiment on track. As word of the nomination spread through the chamber, a new energy filled the air. The Galactic Confederation was taking its first steps into an uncertain but promising future. And humanity, once dismissed as primitive, now stood at its helm. The new galactic order was dawning, built on the hard-won lessons of the past and the shared hopes for tomorrow. As Sarah prepared to address the assembly and accept her new role, she knew that the greatest adventures and challenges still lay ahead. But for the first time in a long while, the galaxy faced the future not with fear, but with unity and hope.